Greetings and welcome to Toltec Talks on Warrior's Path. Today, I'm going to talk about our story, our dream, and how we perceive the world. One of the things that I found profound and perception shifting for me was when I first started studying Toltec magic and the way the Toltecs describe the perception of the world and what is real. In the Western world, we usually consider the one type of dreaming being when we're asleep. In Toltec perception, that is the dream that we have when we're sleeping. We also are dreaming when we're awake. And what this means is how we reference the story of our waking life, the story of our waking perception. That dream is called the dream of the first attention. The reason it's called this is it's the first time something outside of you hooked your perception or attention and told you what was going on. This is our story. This is our story that's been passed down, sometimes for generations, and often without ever questioning the story we've been told. So the dream of the first attention is the definition of reality our ancestors have told us, and our world around us has told us. An excellent example of this is the idea of a tree. The tree is not actually a tree. Tree is just the word in the English language used to describe a three-dimensional physical life form that we've communally agreed to call a tree. That we've been told when we were a child that tree is what this thing is called. There's the first aspect of fundamental reality, and that's the ground below us, the things around us, the very clear three-dimensional objects that are undeniable around us. Those things exist within our physical dream. What we call them is relative to our story. In English, we have agreed on the language we use and the terms, the sounds that come from our mouth that symbolically mean that thing is something that we've agreed on. It's not real and it's not true outside of Western perception and the English language. A tree is called something else in a different culture, based on a different language. And the symbolic stories around that can be very, very different. Now, language is a beautiful tool. As Terence McKenna says, language is a type of verbal telepathy, where I can say something, I can exude a sound from my mouth, and in your mind you can picture what I'm saying. It's a type of verbal telepathy. It's a way of purveying information. The simple aspect of that is phenomenal as humans that we can do this. The basic categorization of the external world is an excellent use of this tool. To call a tree a tree. There's nothing wrong with calling a tree, a dog, a cup, a cup. And still, those things aren't real. The physical things we're describing are real, but the words we are using are just an agreed upon symbol constructed within our mind like a dream. Categorizing this external world with internal symbols and agreed upon verbal sounds is a beautiful use for this tool. There's nothing wrong with that. It gives us a deepened connection and understanding of each other. Now, when a story or judgment goes along with that verbal connection, then we start to fill out the myth. We start to fill out the story. We start to get further from the foundations of actual reality and deeper into the dream of our first attention. The dream we've been told is true. A perfect example of this is in the dream of the first attention. If someone's superstitious and they see a black cat is just feline being that we've given the name cat that happens to be of a certain color. Now, to see a black cat cross your path and believe that you have bad luck because of this is a story. Is a story in the dream. It's a perception that you have that's been passed to you that you don't even understand why necessarily. Now, to get into the different attentions, or the different dreams of attention, the second attention is one of the goals of the Toltec, one of the goals of the warrior. The second attention is when we realize that first dream, that first attention has been told to us without question, and then we begin to question it, especially in the realm where a dream of the first attention takes away our power. You see the black cat, and you feel you have bad luck, and you believe you have bad luck. You can cause yourself to trip over a curb. You can sabotage yourself in just the idea and belief that you have bad luck from a story that's been passed to you that if you don't question and you believe, it can have a detrimental effect on you. There are countless amounts of these stories in our perception system and in our culture. Now, the truth being, a cat is just a cat. Why do we feel like a black cat causes bad luck? Well, one of the theories is because back in medieval times, when they believed witches had familiars, they believed that black cats were the familiars of witches. And so if a black cat crossed your path, you had bad luck because a witch was near. So to take this and move it into the dream of the second attention, the dream where you choose the story, you choose the story that empowers you based on a foundational reality with a story that gives you power. When I saw a black cat in my younger years, I saw it as good luck. I saw it as allies. So therefore, whenever I saw a black cat, I felt good and empowered and that I had more luck. Was this story true? Not necessarily. The ideal aspect of the warrior is to have no story at all and just perceive reality in its raw form for exactly what it is. Now, to jump from the dream of the first attention to the dream of the third attention, which is no story whatsoever, is an unreasonable leap, and in rare circumstances might be able to be attained, but for most scenarios, we transition from the first attention to the dream of the second attention, and then we gain power from the dream of the second attention to then attain and realize the dream of the third attention, and that's just perceiving reality in its raw, unjudged form. So what we work on the warrior's path is shifting the dream of the first attention to the dream of the second attention. And this is part of our goal. This is part of our story, is realizing where we've made agreements. That's one of the pieces to pay attention to, is the difference between choices and agreements. When we were young, we didn't have a choice. When we were children, we didn't choose the stories that were given to us. We didn't choose our name. We didn't choose our religion. We didn't choose who our parents liked or disliked, or who our community liked or disliked, or what stories or perceptions of reality they forced upon us or gave to us. Now, we did agree to these descriptions. Even though we didn't choose them, at some point in time, we agreed. If we didn't agree, we wouldn't have taken it in, and it wouldn't become a part of our perception system. The beauty of the fact that we agreed means that at some point in time, we can disagree. We can change that agreement of what our story is. Another example of this is a child dancing freely to the music, and a grumpy adult that doesn't dance and is in a bad mood horribly curses that child by telling them their dancing is horrible. And then if that child agrees with that statement and puts that in their perception system and believes they can't dance, and that when they dance, it's ridiculous and shameful. If they take that agreement and put it into their perception system, they can live the rest of their life fearing to dance. The same thing for any type of expression. Singing, this happens often. Humans are shamed for singing by people that are uncomfortable with it, either because they don't sing or because maybe they've had a bad day and they're in a bad mood and they're venting their own frustration by sounds being around, so they tell a child they can't sing. And if that's believed and taken in, then that person can spend the rest of their life believing they can't sing. When the truth is, every human being can dance. Every human being can sing. All we have to do is do it. But if our perception system is infected by an agreement that tells a story of our inability, then that dream of the first attention is taking our power, is taking our freedom, is taking our ability to express. And that's where, as a warrior, we hunt this. We stalk this perception. This is where the art of stalking comes in Toltec magic. It's hunting the thing that takes your power. When you feel uncomfortable, or you feel afraid, or you feel anxiety, as the warrior, as the hunter, we look at that and trace it to its source and see where we made an agreement, where an experience in our life created this feeling, and we start to change the story around that, to reclaim the power, to create the dream of the second attention, the dream of cultivating power. And that is part of the art here, in making your own myth, creating your own story, becoming your own hero, your own legend. This is one of the foundational aspects in the warrior's path, and one of the things I've been searching for tools on how to change our stories, how to create our dream of the second attention. Because one of the most powerful things to realize is you cannot change your past, but you can change how your past affects now and affects your future. So every challenge is a gift, and a warrior hunts those gifts. Every time there's a challenge, it's an opportunity to make ourselves stronger and more powerful. Every challenge is an opportunity, especially if we hunt it to its source and use it to reclaim our power, to change our story, to change the dream so that it's a dream we're happy with, a dream that's helping us and those around us. Now I'll end with something I wrote while feeling challenged the other day. The part of my story that inspires me to write these is thinking that one day my grandchildren, my lineage, might need advice and need help, and they could watch this and learn from their grandfather if I'm not around. This is one of my inspiring stories that gets me to do these things. This is the writing that I wrote the other day about challenge and perception. I am thankful for this challenge before me, this opportunity to grow and become stronger, this opportunity to learn. I will appreciate and cherish the lesson. I will hunt and become aware of that which takes my power. I will track down the source of my discomfort, and I will meet it there. I will look at it face to face, inspect it with sobriety and clarity. No matter how I feel, I will learn from it, and I will apply the lesson. I will change my agreements and the way things have control over me. I will become free, step by step, piece by piece. I will become free. I am grateful for this opportunity. Let the hunt begin. So this was a little writing I wrote for myself in challenge to remember the path. I'm still here, sometimes in the dream of the first attention. Thank you for joining me on this first level of understanding of the Toltec path, of the warrior's path, and how we tell our stories and where our stories came from. I've been on this path for a long time, and I have a lot to learn. The more I know, the more I realize I don't know. The more I realize I have to learn. These tools help me in my challenges, and it seems part of the beauty and challenge of this journey is the more we know, the more we're challenged. The more things rise to meet our level of perception and awareness and challenge us there, so we can have opportunities to learn at all of those levels. So it seems at this point in my journey that the tests never end. We just gain tools to navigate and deal with those tests. I want to share these tools to hopefully bring comfort, joy, and efficiency to others on the warrior's path. Thank you for joining me on this Toltec talk. We'll go from here and get into aspects of intent, utilization of will, the 4 agreements, and other aspects of becoming the hero we want to be, living the legend that we want to live on this warrior's path. A tree is not a tree. Sounds so mystical. Let the hunt begin.